March 28, 2010, Gothenburg, Sweden. A Chinese businessman the car world once laughed at is about to sign the deal of his life. His name is Li Shufu, son of farmers, maker of refrigerator parts. The Western press calls his cars cheap copies. Some executives don't take him seriously at all. And today, he is buying Volvo, the safest car brand on earth. He won't be the last. Over the past few years, Chinese buyers have quietly brought over Western brands like Arc'teryx, Salomon, and Blue Bottle Coffee. The latest in this mix? Shein is reportedly buying Everlane, a brand built to be everything Shein is not. So why are Chinese companies buying Western brands? And why are Western brands selling? To understand what happened in that room in Gothenburg, we have to go back. For 40 years, the global economy runs on a simple arrangement. The West designs, brands, and tells the story. China manufactures. China makes the jacket, but Arc'teryx owns the feeling that it came from the mountains. China builds the car, but Volvo owns the feeling of Swedish safety. China makes the product, someone else owns the meaning. Li Shufu understands this better than anyone. In the 1990s, he decides to build cars, and famously brushes off the difficulty. A car, he says, is just 4 wheels and 2 sofas. People laugh. And when his company, Geely, first approaches Ford about buying Volvo, the answer is somewhere between silence and a smile. But then, 2008 happens. The financial crisis hits Detroit like a wrecking ball. Ford is bleeding cash and selling everything that isn't bolted down. Jaguar, gone. Land Rover, gone. Aston Martin, gone. And Volvo, a brand Ford had bought in 1999 for $6.45 billion, suddenly has a price tag again. Li Shufu pays $1.8 billion. Ford eats a 72% loss. The man nobody took seriously isn't outbidding anyone. He is simply the buyer standing at a fire sale. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. The clever part of this deal isn't the price, it's the contract. Volvo's headquarters stay in Gothenburg. The Swedish management stays. The brand keeps near total independence. Li Shufu writes terms that protect Volvo from its new owner, legally fencing off the Swedish myth from the Chinese balance sheet, because he knows exactly what he just bought. Not factories. Cars are trust objects. You put your children inside them and drive at highway speed. Geely bought 90 years of someone else's trust, and then paid lawyers to make sure it couldn't accidentally touch it. Did it work? In 2021, Volvo goes public in Stockholm at a valuation of around $18 billion, 10 times what Li Shufu paid. On the side, the partnership creates Polestar, Chinese engineering underneath, Scandinavian identity on top. A playbook is born. Buy trust cheap from a distressed Western seller. Then don't touch it. Others soon followed this model. This is Ding Shizhong. In 1987, he is 17 years old, from a shoemaking town in Fujian province. As the story goes, he convinces his father to give him 10,000 yuan and 600 pairs of shoes, and takes them to Beijing to sell. Years later, the company he builds, Anta, becomes one of the largest sportswear giants in China. But outside China, almost nobody knows the name. Anta has factories, capital, thousands of stores. What it doesn't have is what Nike has, a feeling. So in 2019, Ding does what Li Shufu did. He stops trying to manufacture belief and buys it. An Anta-led group pays around 4.6 billion euros for Amer Sports, the Finnish company behind Arc'teryx, Salomon, Wilson, and Atomic. And look at who joins his consortium. The private equity firm Fountainvest, Tencent, and one more name, Chip Wilson, the founder of Lululemon. One of the great brand builders of the century is putting his own money into a Chinese takeover of Western outdoor credibility. Arc'teryx comes with decades of athletes, expeditions, and mountain reverence. Salomon comes with alpine heritage. Wilson comes with American sports legitimacy. You can manufacture a jacket in months. Such credibility can take 30 years, or one signature. Then Anta adds the thing Chinese operators do better than anyone on the planet: scale. Arc'teryx and Salomon stores sweep across China. Salomon transforms from trail running gear into a status sneaker on the streets of Shanghai. Greater China becomes the engine of the whole company. In early 2024, the consortium lists Amer Sports on the New York Stock Exchange, where the market values it at a multiple of what they paid. They bought Western Belief wholesale, distributed it through Chinese retail, and sold a piece back to Western investors at a markup. But inside this success, a tension is growing. Remember it, because it decides how every one of these stories ends. The more you scale a premium brand, the closer you get to destroying the rarity that made it premium. April 2020. Luckin Coffee, China's fastest-growing coffee chain, admits that roughly $300 million of its sales were fabricated. The stock collapses. NASDAQ delists it. A corporate corpse. And then, a miraculous turnaround. Under the control of the private equity firm Centurium Capital, Luckin comes back from the dead. Small stores, app-only ordering, ruthless coupon mathematics. By 2023, Luckin's revenue in China has overtaken Starbucks to be its largest coffee chain. Now, in 2026, that same firm agrees to buy Blue Bottle from Nestle, the brand known specifically for slow, minimalist $4 pour-over coffee, sold to the operators of coffee's most industrial machine. Why would Nestle sell? The same reason as Ford: portfolio math. A boutique that sells atmosphere never fits a consumer goods spreadsheet. And why would Luckin's backers buy? Because the two brands aren't opposites. They're a barbell. One for scale, one for taste. One for the app, one for the customer who needs to feel they discovered a better way to drink coffee. But the risk here is sharper than anywhere else. Blue Bottle's entire value is restraint. And restraint is the one thing growth capital has never been good at preserving. The moment a brand like this feels optimized, it starts to feel fake. Which brings us back to the strangest deal of all. Shein does not need Everlane's factories. Shein can produce Everlane's entire catalog before Everlane finishes the design brief. So what is it reportedly paying $100 million for? Follow Shein's last few years. It tries to go public in New York, blocked. London, stalled. Hong Kong, complicated. Meanwhile, the loophole that let it ship duty-free packages into America is shut down, striking the core of its cost machine. Shein's problem was never supply, but rather an issue of legitimacy. A problem so big that it is no longer a PR issue, but rather a balance sheet problem, standing between the company and an IPO. Everlane, meanwhile, is a fallen retail darling, reportedly carrying heavy debt, a distressed seller. The fourth one in this story. So for $100 million, pocket change at Shein's scale, it buys a customer it could never reach. The one who wants basics with a story. Clothes with less guilt. Shein can make the t-shirt. It cannot make the feeling that the t-shirt is ethical. That feeling was for sale. But Everlane's brand was built on one idea: not being Shein. And if customers ever look at it and think, this is just Shein with better fonts, the asset evaporates on contact. 4 industries following one similar trade. On one side, Western brands rich in culture, starved of capital. On the other, Chinese buyers rich in capital, starved of trust. But a brand is not a factory. When you buy a factory, you optimize it to make it better and more efficient. Optimize a brand, and you might accidentally kill what makes it special. After all, a brand is a belief system. While the purchase contract may transfer the trademark and ownership of a brand, it cannot transfer the belief. That is rented from the customer every single day, and it can be canceled without notice. So, has the rent been paid? Here is the scoreboard so far. Volvo, losing money on $12 billion of revenue when Li Shufu walked into that room, is today a $39 billion business. Amer Sports has more than doubled, from $3.1 billion in sales to $6.6. Arc'teryx alone is approaching $3 billion. Salomon around $2.4. The fear that Chinese ownership would cheapen these brands? So far, the numbers say the opposite. So far. Because you can buy a company, You can buy its patents, its stores, its inventory, but you cannot force people to keep believing a story. China spent 40 years learning how to manufacture everything. Now we're about to find out if it can own the one thing no factory has ever produced: belief.